Yesterday, the president had his Secretary of Low Energy, Jennifer Granholm, make an announcement and a veto threat from the podium at the White House. It has to do with legislation that the House is about to pass that has to do with our emergency energy supply, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And it says if we withdraw more, we need a plan for exploration of energy in the United States to refill that. I've introduced similar legislation in the Senate. The reason this is so important is because our emergency supplies are now at a 40-year low. And we've gotten to that point because President Biden, in the run-up to the elections, withdrew from our strategic reserve 1 million barrels of oil each and every day for 6 months, 180 days, 180 million barrels of oil. And he started doing it when energy prices, gasoline was at $5 a gallon. People were feeling the pain at the pump. It's nice to see that the president finally admits that there is a relationship between supply and demand and the cost of energy and gasoline at the pump. But yet the president continues to respond to the climate crazies who call the tune at the White House, which is why they killed the Keystone XL pipeline and why he continues to hammer on oil and gas exploration in America. Well, the price of gasoline is going up again. The American people know what they want. They want energy that is affordable, available, and reliable. They want it from here at home. They don't want us going to Iran or begging Saudi Arabia or Venezuela for oil and energy. But yet this war on energy by President Biden has hurt our energy grid and has hurt our energy security. And you don't have to think back very far to see it. Look at what happened at Christmas time with the cold snap that hit the country. People across the country were told to lower their thermostat, turn off their Christmas lights, and don't plug in your electric vehicle because it was going to lead to brownouts or blackouts. And I'm not sure if the president or his sidekick, Secretary of Energy, even knows the fact that Vladimir Putin continues to subsidize the climate-crazy group of lobbyists and others who represent organizations that continue to lobby in this country against American energy. Putin has spent lots of money over a decade on this. These are the people that argue against pipelines, against energy infrastructure, against oil and gas exploration. In the meantime, my home state of Wyoming, energy breadbasket of America, is told we have to keep our affordable, available, and reliable energy in the ground. What's the president say he wants to do? Well, you heard the administration talking about banning gas stoves, and the president made a promise to the United Nations to send $11 billion each and every year to the UN for climate reparations. I am going to do absolutely everything I can as the ranking member of the Energy Committee in the Senate to make sure that the United States never, ever delivers on Joe Biden's promise.
Wow, friends. It is now up to Senate Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy to reach a deal with Democrats on the United States debt ceiling. Several GOP lawmakers have proposed a new plan to address the issues, but the plan includes major changes to Medicare and Social Security. So friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video if you are a retiree or a senior. Also, to say thank you so very much for being part of this community, I am giving away 2 Walmart gift cards every Friday. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaways, friends, make sure that you click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances, dear friends, of winning the giveaways. Senate Republicans are happy to leave the hard work on averting a cataclysmic debt default this year to the House's new Speaker. Upper chamber Republicans are sitting at the early days of what's shaping up as a standoff between their House counterparts and President Biden. Some Senate Republicans helped twice raise the debt ceiling in 2021, and 4 of those members said they have no intention of stepping in this time. Senate Republican Thom Tillis has recently told reporters what matters is really what the House can create. They're in a position, they have the gavels. We have to see what sort of strategy they think works to a successful outcome. The current dynamic in the House means that Senate Republican minority is effectively handing the keys to McCarthy to try and cut a deal with President Biden. Senate Democrats had hoped to clear a clean debt ceiling bill earlier this year to demonstrate to the House they could get a filibuster-proof majority well ahead of the impending spring deadline. But their Republican colleagues say that is not happening right now. That's due in part because Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and his lieutenants spent much of their political capital in December aggressively moving to pass a government funding bill that had Kevin McCarthy complaining loudly and often. Many GOP senators feared that kicking the spending measure to this year could risk a government shutdown. So now some Republicans doubt that Mitch McConnell could muster the 9 votes needed to break a filibuster on a debt limit increase, even if he wanted to. Just today, all that Mitch McConnell would say was, "We won't default." With the government funded until the end of this September, many Republicans believe it is Kevin McCarthy's turn to make the tough calls during the new era of split government. For example, Senate Republican Susan Collins, who is about as amenable to lifting the debt ceiling as any Republican that you'll find in the Capitol. At the moment, she said her preference would be for the president to sit down with Speaker McCarthy, listen to one another, and work out an agreement. She said she did not know whether a so-called clean debt ceiling increase could even pass the Senate. Ultimately, the Senate GOP may be in a position to break the impasse and help find a solution that can satisfy both parties, Senate Democrats, House Republicans, and also the president. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts about what's going on in our government? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. U.S. gasoline prices are also back on the agenda in Washington. The White House is arguing that GOP-supported bills critical of the administration's energy policy will end up raising fuel costs for millions of Americans. House Republicans have teed up a vote this week on legislation that would tie releases of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to increase drilling on federal lands and water. So the move is an example of how Republicans are using their House majority to shine a light on the Biden administration's historic 180 million barrel drawdown from the reserve. Democrats argue that by attaching strings to the use of the oil reserve, Republicans would hinder their ability to use it during emergencies. Last year, as gasoline prices rose to a historic high, President Biden tapped strategic stockpiles in an effort to relieve fuel makers. Republicans criticized the drawdown as a political ploy to lower gasoline prices before the midterm elections. During a recent White House press briefing, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm highlighted that gasoline prices have dropped $1.60 per gallon since they peaked at more than $5 over the summer. The president would veto the House legislation, H.R. 21, if it were to pass in Congress. Granholm has recently stated he will not allow the American people to suffer because of the backwards agenda that House Republicans are advancing. For the 4th week in a row, the nation's average gas price has climbed, rising 11.3 cents from 1 week ago to $3.39 per gallon. The national average is up 30.2 cents from 1 month ago, and it's 7.3 cents per gallon higher than 1 year ago. So friends, what are your thoughts on our energy crisis? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Well, my beautiful and magnificent friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Tuesday afternoon. My friends, thank you so very, very much for being here every day, and most especially for being part of this community. I will be announcing 2 winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift cards. If you'd like to enter the giveaways, all you have to do, friends, is make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. Thank you, dear friends, and have a wonderful and very blessed Tuesday.